Hey everybody, welcome into an all-new episode of the demo series presented by Stats Perform. I'm your host, Mike Leon. With each episode in this series, we're going to take you inside a product or service here at Stats Perform that can help your business in a multitude of ways. Now, today's product I'm really excited about because it is around our AutoStats dashboard. This is a fantastic tool that is helping college, basketball, and NBA folks everywhere with deeper, comprehensive stats, insights, shot analysis, and more on prospective players around major college conferences, overseas leagues, pretty much everywhere. So joining me to help demo this product is basketball data scientist over at Stats Perform, Matt Scott. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, happy to be here.
So Matt, I mentioned it at the top about what we were going to be discussing in this demo series. I'm really keen to learn more about AutoStats dashboard. So is our listeners and watchers out there. Why don't you take our audience inside what the AutoStats dashboard actually is?
Sure. So AutoStats allows us to get tracking data from broadcast video, which allows us to look at a lot of different data points that wouldn't be present in traditional box score data. So things like drives, ball screens, isolations, post up, things of that nature. We can also get all of that on the defensive side of the ball, which is something that's really lacking with traditional box score and play-by-play data. So if you want to know how a player does when he defends the screener, in what switches on a ball screen, how much he contests certain shot types and things of that nature, we can get all of that as well using this tracking data.
No, it's really interesting about AutoStats, and I want to see it in action now, as the people I'm sure out there will want to see it as well. So let's do a couple of things here right at the top. First, everyone's talking about the NBA draft this upcoming June, and the two top prospects that are out there: Victor Wembanyama, the 7'4" center out of the French league. This kid is averaging 21 a game. He can shoot from any spot on the basketball court, and then it's always the discussion between maybe him at number one or Scoot Henderson, who's playing right now in the G League, a 6'2" point guard. Speaking of freak athleticism, this kid can fly. He's averaging 17.6 points per game right now in the G League for the Ignite team. All right, Matt, why don't you take our audience inside how AutoStats would really help us go in depth on each of these top prospects?
Yeah, Mike, let's take a look at how I'd use the dashboard to break these guys down. So if we looked at Victor Wembanyama, some of his data for this season, we have here is kind of a subset of our AutoStats event markings and kind of some qualifiers that we could put into each of those things. So for like isolations, we have, a frequency metric. How many ISOs per touch does he have? A player efficiency metric. So how many points does he individually score per ISO? How does his team do in those situations? And then kind of a miscellaneous thing. So for isolations, we're talking about how often does he shoot the ball? What we have on the right here are just percentile rankings of where he would rank versus other guys, in this case, versus other non-college players from this season who meet certain minimum qualifiers. If you don't see a ranking somewhere, that means he doesn't meet the minimum qualifier in that particular data point. But if we're looking at ISO specifically, we can see he's doing them pretty frequently in the 69th percentile. His player points per ISO, 92nd percentile, and team points, 86th percentile. So very efficient when he's running isolation plays in the French league. We also have a metric here, average influence score, which is a measure of defender intensity. And we're seeing him in the 81st percentile there. What that's saying is that when he shoots the ball, defenders are playing tighter defense on him than 81% of other players in non-collegiate leagues from this season. Let's take a look at his defensive numbers as well. One thing you'll notice here is he's in the 86th percentile of expected effective field goal percentage defended at only 35%. So what that's saying is when he's the primary defender on a shot, players aren't getting very good ones off, which makes sense given his length and his agility, right? So of course, he's in the 86th percentile in that category. We see a lot of rebounding metrics as well, where he rates pretty highly. When he's defending the screen, 83rd percentile, and how often the screener is actually getting a touch off of it. So he's kind of shutting them down and not allowing the, pick and pop or pick and roll to happen and with a pass to the screener. So let's look at Scoot. So one interesting thing that stands out here is he's in the 96th percentile of the percentage of his jumpers that are contested. That means the defenders are playing really tight defense on him, which sometimes, when you're looking at a prospective draft prospect, maybe you don't have a huge sample of shots, kind of seeing how the players on the other team respect his shot can be a useful additional data point. We're also seeing some really high metrics on a lot of his passing metrics. So, how often they led to shot, how often they led to assist opportunities, secondary assist, et cetera, all towards the top of the league. When he's the ball handler in ball screens, he's in the 82nd percentile of how often those occur. He, just like Wembanyama, is very efficient in isolation. So his player points per ISO is in the 96th percentile. His player points per drive also in the 89th percentile. And we look at his defensive metrics. He doesn't quite rate as well on this end of the ball. So you can see like his field goal percentage allowed. He's only in the 21st percentile. So 79% of players are, allowing a lower field goal percentage or shots they defend. And when he's defending the ball hands or in ball screens, kind of mediocre data points, right? Like towards the middle of the pack. Although the opposing team's generally efficient when he's covering the ball handler. So that could be a sign of concern.
I mean, that's incredibly interesting stuff there, because especially for people that are highlight driven, they see the highlights of what Scoot has done in the G League so far, but then you get deeper into the metrics and you see why people have him behind Victor, right? In terms of the defensive metrics. So really interesting stuff there. Matt, I can't thank you enough for taking us inside the AutoStats dashboard today. Appreciate you coming on the demo series.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's been my pleasure.
If you want to learn more about the AutoStats dashboard, head to statsperform.com today, and you can find out more about this amazing tool and how we can help your pro basketball team's recruitment and analysis program. For Matt Scott, I am Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.